Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. I am doing a review for you for the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Foundation. This is one that I have recently discovered. I have started to use it since the very beginning of December and now it's the end of January, so almost 2 months. I wanted to use it for a while before I gave you guys my real opinion on this, and I've been wearing this every day for that purpose. So this is the packaging. This is not glass, it's plastic. So it looks like basically it's got this plastic casing around it. On the inside there's a tube where the foundation comes out of. And, you know, in true Kat Von D style, there's like some tattoo art looking thing up here and down the bottom. This is 1 fluid ounce, 30 milliliters, very normal. This is what I think most foundations sell at the 1 fluid ounce range. It's $34 at Sephora. And as far as the packaging goes, it's plastic. It has a pump. The pump is really good. It dispenses just what you need, and you can kind of play with it to get what you want. I just feel like it's really bulky. I feel like it's really big. Like, for example, this is a foundation that I normally use, the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus. This is also 1 fluid ounce, and look at how little that is compared to this. I feel like this is so much more portable and easy. It's like a very no-frills sort of packaging. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything expensive, but it's just, you know, it's easy. And I feel like to make products look good, sometimes companies go really overboard in the packaging, and this is one of them. I feel like it's really bulky for traveling. Also, the spout right here, if you guys can see it, there's no way to close that. So I feel like when traveling, that worries me. If something presses against this, then something's going to come out of here. You know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel about that. As far as the color goes, I am in the color M62. I am a shade 65 in the Matte Velvet Plus, and I feel like this is very, very, very similar in color to that. That is my absolute non-fail color. I've never had a color match as good as that. I'm wearing that right now, if you guys can tell. I feel like this really does match me well, and this looks just like it. It might be a tad bit more orange, but somehow that doesn't look bad on my skin. The last video that I shot, if you guys wanted to go back in there for reference, I'm wearing it, and you guys said that it looked really good. So which is the tutorial of this. So on the back here it says it's full coverage, 24-hour wear, transfer resistant, matte finish, fragrance free, and oil free. So I wanted to go through all of these with you guys. It is very full coverage. I thought that the MAC Studio Fix and the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus were the most full coverage foundations that I've ever used, and I am very wrong, because compared to this, I feel like I've never used a true full coverage foundation except for like cream formulas like Graftobian and Maron and stuff like that. It kind of feels comparable to that, but in liquid form. So it is very, very, very full coverage. It's definitely a foundation that feels heavy. It feels like makeup. And for me, that doesn't bother me. I'm very used to wearing makeup, but I feel for people who are not quite as used to wearing makeup but might need the sort of coverage, this foundation might not be for you. Like, for example, cream foundations for me, I love the way it looks, but it feels really heavy, and for that reason I can't wear it. And that feels comparable to what this feels like. So I feel like a lot of people might be turned off by that. But as far as full coverage goes, you can also use this as a concealer. No one has ever said that, in the sense that Kat Von D doesn't advertise it like that, but I found that I go ahead and put this on my face, and then I go back with a brush like this and just grab like a tiny bit of this and go back over spots, and I feel like it really does give me really great full coverage. So for that reason, I think it ends up saving you money, because you don't have to invest in a good concealer and stuff like that, because this can do the job for that. Now, this is for really, really oily skin. Like, with this, my face does not get oily at all. So I've actually run into some problems using this right now, especially because it's winter and my skin has felt so dry. Because even for my super oily skin, which I think is like grease pan oily, it can sometimes be too much. So with that in mind, dry skin people would definitely not like this. Another thing that you could do if you really wanted to is that if you wanted to mix this with moisturizer to make it a little bit lighter coverage and give you some breathability, I think that would be a good idea as well. So now this says a 24-hour wear. The most that I've worn this for, I think, was 14 hours, and honestly the foundation looked really good. I found that I can wear it for 9 hours for sure and have no oil come through, and it looks the exact same as when I started off. Then after 9 hours, it kind of dwindles from there a little bit. But also, obviously, if I'm wearing it for that long, I'm going from day to night, and I think the foundations tend to look a little bit different in that light, so I don't think that it breaks apart or anything like that. It just starts to look more like older foundation and my oil starts to come through. But I feel like if you did need to wear it for 24 hours, it would actually last that long. I'm not going to test that out. That means that I would have to sleep in it. So the next one says transfer resistant. I totally disagree with that because I feel like this foundation is one of those that once you put it on, you have to really set it with some good powder. The problem is that this is such a high coverage foundation that it's got this very sticky consistency that like really good concealers have, that really that normal cream foundations have. It's that sort of consistency. So due to that, everyone knows you can't just put on a cream foundation, not set it, and leave because it is going to come off. So you really need to set this with a lot of powder, and even with that, it transfers. So I don't know why it says transfer resistant. I mean, transfer resistant just means that it's going to not be as easy to transfer, but transfer proof would mean that it just does not transfer. So I don't think that it's transfer resistant at all. I find it pretty hard to set, to be honest. I have to really, I use my normal Prep and Prime translucent powder, but I have to really press it in. Like I take my foundation brush and I would like really do that number to make sure that it's like actually in my skin. Otherwise it just kind of feels like it's on top. It's definitely a matte finish, but I think it's more of a matte finish than my Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus, but it doesn't have, I don't want to say it looks cakey because it doesn't, but it can look like makeup if you use too much of it. So I feel like when most foundations you take a pump and a half, but with this I use half a pump and I've got my full face done. So I would err on the side of not using as much. But it's definitely a harder to work with foundation because it's so thick. So I use it with this brush right here, the Sigma Angle Top Kabuki, but you have to really work it in and kind of make sure that it moves along your face so you have to really moisturize well, because it's definitely more difficult to use foundation. It's definitely a matte finish. It is fragrance free, which I enjoy. You guys know that I'm not a big fragrance person in terms of my cosmetics, so I enjoy that. It's definitely oil free, you can tell. So this is a good product for sure. I think that it's definitely for the oilier skin girls out there, not for anybody who has any skin less than that, not even normal skin for sure. It has an incredible range of colors, and especially for darker skins like me and like South Asian skin, I think that you would definitely find a good match because none of their foundations look really yellow, which is nice because I feel like that's sometimes the problem with MAC. Like a lot of the colors just err on the side of being too yellow and it doesn't really look like real skin, and this has more oranges to it, which is still different than pink, and that works better for my skin. So they have really good colors. You guys will definitely be able to get a good color match. It's not that portable because of the packaging. I feel like this can break. I can see like a line going through this or something like that because like hard plastic like this doesn't tend to last very long. Overall, it is a good formula. So if you guys have any questions, definitely post down below and I'll be sure to get back to you guys. Thanks, bye.